Hello everyone and welcome to CWL Builds. I'm Caleb and today I'm going to be building this custom made light box that I'll be using to look at photo negatives or developed film as well as doing some tracing. Now you can pause on each frame of here to get the specific measurements for each piece, but I'm going to be talking about why I chose 8x10 for the base, and that is because the top plate of glass or plexiglass that I had from my local hardware store was 8x10 inches, and so I just went off that because it's easier to cut wood than it is to cut glass. For my light source, I'll be using these white LED strips, and they're chained together like this and then glued onto a piece of scrap plastic. They're then plugged into this dimmer switch that I have. This is optional, you could plug in straight to the 120 wall adapter, but this is just nice so I can adjust the brightness. And there's the 120 wall adapter right there, which plugs into, of course, the wall. To add a bit of reflectivity to the inside, I'll be using this aluminum tape. And as you can see here, I drilled a small hole in the side of one of the boards, and that's so that the electronics can fit through. To attach the aluminum tape, it's very simple. You just have to peel off the back and stick it on. And as you can see here, I drew a small line there that the tape will sit on, and that is so that the wood will glue directly to the wood, and I'm not gluing wood to tape because that might not stick as well. Here's where those 1/4 inch pieces of strip wood come in. I'll be gluing them here on that line, and this will act as a shelf for the glass or plexiglass that I'll be using later. And I'll be just using super glue to attach it because this isn't going to be carrying a lot of weight. So in my original drawings and designs, I had forgotten to take into account those shelf pieces I put in, so I'm going to have to cut off a 1/4 inch off both sides of 2 of the sides, if that makes sense. It's an easy fix, and I already updated the measurements at the beginning of the video so that you guys don't make the same mistake I did. To glue the box together, I'll be using an old model making trick where you put down a layer of wood glue, then you put down a couple drops of super glue. When you push the wood together, the super glue will dry really fast and keep the wood clamped together so that the wood glue can dry completely. It's an old trick and it works pretty well. And if you've done everything correctly, your box should slide right on top of your original base plate, and we can glue it in using that same technique I talked about before. After doing a bit of test fitting, I can now move on to hand sanding and make the box look a little prettier. Clean up some of that wood glue that leaked out and get those edges all lined up. So the box is plenty strong with that wood glue and super glue technique, but I'll also be adding some small nails in for decorative purposes, but to also add some extra strength. So I pre-drill and then I'll add these tiny nails that you'll see in a second. Now, even though this is pretty cheap poplar hobby board, I'll be using this Danish oil finish just to protect the wood and give it some shine. I can now glue down my LED strips, and the box is basically done with the building portion. So here are those angle aluminum pieces I showed at the beginning of the video, and what these will do is act as a clamp to hold down the plexiglass or glass, whatever you end up using, so that you don't have to drill through it into the wood. So I'll be showing you two different techniques for diffusing the light. The first is the simplest. Just take a single sheet of paper, cut it down to 8 by 10, and then put it under the glass. Now this works great, but you can see some of the fibers of the paper, which can be a little off-putting and distracting to some. Now it does work great, but the second technique I'll be showing you does take a lot longer, but does also produce a better diffused light. For this technique, I'll be using this piece of Lexan, which is a polycarbonate resin thermoplastic. It's already cut into an 8 by 10 sheet, that's how I bought it. You take off one of the protective sheets and you just go at it with some sandpaper. You really want to roughen it up really evenly, and so you're going to have to take some time. It took me about 20-25 minutes of just hand sanding to sand it enough that it would diffuse the light really well. And you can just see I just go at it with some sandpaper, making little circular patterns up and down every direction I possibly can. I also found this expanding organizer folder which had these sort of frosted pieces of plastic inside, and so I tore it apart and cut some of those out, and I'll be using these to add as a diffuser as well. So once you've put your brackets in, the box is basically complete. So you can plug it in, turn that switch, and you're ready to look at your film like a pro. And when you look at that, the film looks really, really nice. Now, of course, you can buy light boxes. I'm not saying you can't, but where's the fun in just buying a box when you can make one yourself? The other cool thing about this is you can use it as a tracing box. Say I want to copy this amazing piece of art of my channel name, I can just put a blank piece of paper over that and I can see it right through the light box. And so I can take my pencil and I can trace it, again, very beautifully, and I'll have a perfect copy. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned a thing or two, and if you build one of these yourself, I'd love to see it. Send me a picture over to my Instagram at CWLBuilds, same as my channel name. Again, thanks for the watch. If you liked it, consider dropping a like, consider subscribing, check out other videos on my channel, and as always, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, everybody.